दर्श्या ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मायं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुन् श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं स्वावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पथे गोपीश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी देव प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna, Shashwat. Thank you very much for the wonderful Manglacharan. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances from everybody in this group, Prabhuji, who have joined and who are about to join. Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining us and giving us your time. I hope you are well, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 1, Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is entitled The Son of Drona Punished. And today we are on text 19, Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, can we proceed to reciting of the text and reading the word to word and translation and purport?
You would like me to do that?
Prabhuji, we can do, yes, Prabhuji. If you can recite the text and we can repeat after you, Prabhuji.
All right.
And then we can help you with the reading of the word to word and translation and purport.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yadara Sharanam Atmanam. Yada Sharanam Atmanam.
Yada Sharanam Atmanam
Aishita Shanta Bhagyam.
Aikshata Shranta Vajinam
Ashram Brahma Sharo Mene.
Ashram Brahmo Shiro Mene
Atmatranam Dvijatmaja.
Atmatranam Vijatmanaja.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Shashwin, is it possible for you to recite the text, please?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. Yada sharanam atmanam aiksatasran tavajinam ashram brahmasiro mene atmatranam dvijatvaja. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Shashwat. Kumar Prabhuji, is it possible for you to read the word to word? And after that, would anybody like to read the translation and purport?
Okay, Mataji.
Okay. Let Kumar Prabhuji do word to word, and then Prabhu, you can do translation and purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yada,
Yada
when asaramam,
asharanam,
without being alternately protected,
without being alternatively protected,
atmanam,
atmanam,
his own self,
his own self,
aksada,
akshata,
sa,
so,
randa, vachinam,
shranta, vajnam,
the horses being tired,
the horses being tired,
asram,
ashram, ashtram,
weapon,
weapon,
brahmasraha,
brahmasiraha,
the topmost or ultimate nuclear,
the topmost or ultimate nuclear,
mene,
mene,
applied,
applied,
atmatranam,
atmatranam,
just to save himself,
just to save himself,
vija atmajaha,
dvija atmajaha,
the son of your Brahmana.
the son of Brahmana.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Krishna.
When the son of the Brahmana Ashwatthama saw that his horses were tired, he considered that there was no alternative for protection outside of his using the ultimate weapon, the Brahmastra nuclear weapon. Purport. In the ultimate issue only, when there is no alternative, the nuclear weapon called Brahmastra is applied. The word Dvijatma Jaha is significant here because Ashwatthama, although the son of Dronacharya, was not exactly a qualified Brahmana. The most intelligent man is called a Brahmana, and it is not a hereditary title. Ashwatthama was also formerly called the Brahma Bandhu or the friend of a Brahmana. Being a friend of a Brahmana does not mean that one is a Brahmana by qualification. A friend or a son of a Brahmana, when fully qualified, can be called as a Brahmana and not otherwise. Since Ashwatthama's decision is immature, he is purposely called herein the son of a Brahmana. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, would you like us to read text 20 as well, or are you just going to do text 19?
Yeah, you can read through
Okay.
all the way to text 22.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Arya Govind Prabhuji, will you take over reading the text of text 20? And I can do the translation and purport. And then Peter Mulli Prabhuji, if you can read the text and translation of 21, if possible. Otherwise, Prahlad Prabhu can take over. Okay, let's start, Prabhu.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Atho Pashpriya अतोपास्पृश्य सलिलं सन्धधे तत् समाहितम् अजानन् अपि संहरान् अजानन् अपि संहरां प्राणकृच्र उपाश्रिते. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to do word to word?
I can do it, Mataji.
Okay, okay. Then I'll do the translation and purport. Hare Krishna.
Atha das
Atha das
upashraya touching. Okay, upashraya
upashraya
touching in sanctity.
touching in sanctity. Salinam water.
Sandhade
Sandhade
chanted the hymns.
chanted the hymns.
Sat
That
that samahita
samahita
being in concentration.
being in concentration.
Ajanam
Ajanam
without knowing. Api
Although
samharam
samharan
withdrawal pranakrichre life being put in danger. Upashite being placed in such a position. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Peter Prabhu, kindly do the translation and purport. Hare Krishna.
Haribo. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Since his life was in danger, he touched water in sanctity and concentrated upon the chanting of the hymns or throwing nuclear weapons, although he did not know how to withdraw such weapons. Purport. The subtle forms of material activities are finer than grosser methods of material manipulation. Such subtle forms of material activities are effected through purification of sound. The same method is adopted here by chanting hymns to act as nuclear weapons.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Excuse me, does anyone have any questions or comments up to this point about the previous purport, about Ashwatthama being the son of a Brahmin, or this purport about the mantras? Otherwise, we can go to the next verse.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. What does it mean by the purification of sound in this purport?
It means sound, specifically mantras, are chanted with proper pronunciation by qualified persons who are in sattva guna. Then they gain power. A long time ago, fires could be started by mantra. There are books with mantras for keeping away ants, scorpions, dealing with poisons. But it depends upon the quality of the person chanting and the quality of the chanting itself. So purification of sound, pure sound.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a question on the previous verse.
Yes.
I know it's been explained why Ashwatthama is not called a Brahmin, but called a son of Brahmin. But Prabhuji, why was he not a qualified Brahmin? Were there some exams that he had to do or some tests that he had to perform to being called a Brahmin. A
Yeah,
son of
that's
a
right.
Brahmin is not a Brahmin. That is what is explained. But
Yes,
what did he not do? Or
that's
what
very,
did,
very good. That's a very good question. Uh, not just in India, but other parts of the world. Sometimes children are automatically considered qualified as the parents just by birth. But it is something especially part of ancient Indian culture with the different categories of occupation, different categories of people. And there developed a very mistaken idea that if you were the daughter or son of a doctor, you were automatically a doctor, which is ridiculous. You have to be qualified. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes the qualities of someone who is Brahminical, someone whose character is Brahminical. And if someone, anyone, it doesn't matter where they're born, what country they're from, what sex they are, if they have those qualities of character, then they can be and activities, then they're a qualified Brahmin. As it is said, if it looks like a duck, acts like a duck, and sounds like a duck, then it's a duck. So qualified means that you actually are the thing. That's all. It is not automatic. On the other hand, there is special respect given for someone who is the son or daughter of a Brahmin, of a qualified Brahmin. And the way they are dealt with is different than other people may be treated, because one does not want to offend the parent who is a qualified Brahmin. The child may be acting wrongly, but it's still the child of a qualified Brahmin. And we don't want to make offense to persons who are qualified Brahminically. Krishna doesn't like that. And we will hear later on that when Arjuna punishes Ashwatthama, it is on the basis of his being in this special category of Brahma Bandhu. Does that help?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji? Yes, it has helped.
Any additional comments or questions?
Any other questions or comments?
I can add that it is said that devotional service is on the transcendental platform. And it is, in the sense that it is connected to the supreme transcendence, Krishna. But just because we chant Hare Krishna, or because we wear devotional clothes, or we have pictures of Krishna in our house, it doesn't mean necessarily that we ourselves are fully transcendental. It is entirely possible to practice devotion to God in different levels of consciousness. In fact, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we will learn later that devotional service, bhakti, can be performed tinged by tamagun, rajagun, and sattvagun. This is, we see this, this is not theoretical. For example, in the mode of passion, one worships God to get something. I will get money, I will get health, I will pass my college board, I will be famous by giving donation to the church, to the temple, to the mosque. So it's devotion to Krishna, but it's tinged by the mode of passion. So something for each of us to remember, that just even if we're initiated, it doesn't mean that we're a pure Vaishnava automatically. Everything has to be understood by the qualifications. Very important to understand that. Even if someone is dressed like a devotee, if they're acting like a criminal and they won't listen, then we have to call the police or some authority. It's not, oh, they're a devotee. Yes, they're a devotee, but they're acting like a criminal. But even then, just like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so his father, Jagannath Mishra, was sometimes disciplining him. The father of Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna, is sometimes chastising him. But he did it in a very gentle way. And so when we deal with other devotees, we will deal with each other in practical ways, but it's with consciousness that this is someone who is devoted to Krishna, and they should not be treated, they should be treated carefully. So we will hear this. Ashwatthama is going to be disciplined, but it will be done keeping in mind his connection to a qualified Brahmin. Any questions about that? There was once, there's a story of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he is one of our great Vaishnava acharyas. We sing his bhajan. So he is a wonderful example of a devotee in the Grihastha ashram. And he worked as a school teacher and later in the government. And at one time, he was in charge of the Jagannath Puri temple. Very responsible position. And there was a yogi living in Jagannath Puri who people in general thought of as being spiritual. This is a spiritual saint. You know, he had the long hair and he dressed like a sannyasi and he chanted mantras and he looked like, he seemed to act like a very spiritual person, but he was doing nonsense things. He knew mantras and he was casting spells on women and such things. So so he was causing trouble. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because he was very learned and very wise, he could understand that this was not a pure spiritual person. Obviously, the person had some yogic ability and practiced different yogic exercises, but he was not a pure devotee of Krishna. And so he arranged to have this yogi arrested. And the townspeople became very afraid and they doubted. They said, how can you chastise this spiritual person? Well, the spiritual person was acting like a criminal, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur knew that. He wasn't fooled by the dress. And the story goes on. The yogi threatened that Srila Bhaktivinoda's son would die. And in fact, his son did become ill. But Lord Krishna protected, and the yogi was arrested and stopped. So that is a very graphic example of seeing something on the basis of actual qualification. And it means being familiar with Bhagavad Gita. If we read the Bhagavad Gita carefully, especially the last half of Bhagavad Gita, that gives the symptoms of true yogis and true spiritual persons, then we will know for ourselves. And we should know for ourselves. It's just like when we go shopping, we should know what is a good mango, what is a good melon. So we get the good quality fruit and food. It has its qualities, right? If we go to buy a car, we can run our finger on the inside of the back tailpipe. And if our finger is all black, we know that the car is burning oil. There's something wrong with the engine. So there are symptoms, and someone who is familiar with the symptom is in a good position. And if we don't know, then we should ask someone who we trust has more understanding than ourselves. Just like we call, whenever we buy a car, it's a good idea to have a mechanic look at it and give us an opinion. Is this a good car to buy? So if we have any doubts about spiritual people, devotees, then we should ask. It doesn't matter how advanced we think they are. If we have some doubt that they're acting wrongly, then of course we'll be polite and respectful. But we should not necessarily do what they said. Oh, this is a great devotee. He's asking me to smoke marijuana with her or him. No. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much. And I think most of the other religious leaders, I think people just follow them without questioning, like the herd mentality. And therefore they get into trouble, or I mean, at the end result, I mean, they've put in so much endeavor, but the end result is not what they had expected, because I guess they've followed without questioning or without understanding.
Without understanding, if we buy fruits and vegetables without knowing what's good quality, we could end up with something rotten, get sick. So we can go on to the next text 21 if there aren't any other questions.
Text 21. Tata pradukshratam teja prachandam sarvato disham pranapadam abhipreksha vishnum jisnur uvacha. Hare Krishna, I'll do the word to word. Tata,
Tata,
thereafter.
Thereafter,
Pradukshratam, disseminated.
disseminate.
Teja,
Teja,
glare.
glare.
Glare,
Yeah.
Chandam,
Chandam,
fierce.
Fear,
Sarvata,
sarvata,
all around.
all around.
Disam,
Disham,
directions.
direction,
There,
Prana apadam,
prana,
affecting life.
affecting life.
Abhipreksha,
Adiprekya,
having observed it.
having observed
Vishnum,
Vishnu
Vishnu,
onto the Lord.
unto the Lord.
Jishu,
Jishnu,
Jishnu, Arjuna.
Arjuna,
Uvacha,
Uvacha,
said.
said,
Ha,
Ha,
in the past.
in the past.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thereupon, a glaring light spread in all directions. It was so fierce that Arjuna thought his own life is in danger, and so he began to address Lord Shri Krishna.
For text 22, let's read this Sanskrit verse and then the English translation.
Hare Krishna, anybody would like to read text 22? Lakshmi Mataji? Okay.
Sorry, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, maybe I can go on to text 22. Text 22, Arjuna Vacha. Krishna Krishna Mahabhao Bhaktanam yankara Tvam eko dhanyamanan apavargo shisham streya. Translation. Prabhuji, word to word. Shall I do the word to word?
No, just the translation.
Translation. Arjuna said, O my Lord Shri Krishna, you are the Almighty Personality of Godhead. There is no limit to your different energies. Therefore, only you are competent to instill fearlessness in the hearts of your devotees. Everyone in the flames of material miseries can find the path of liberation in you only. Hare Krishna.
I'll read the purport.
Okay.
Arjuna was aware of the transcendental qualities of Lord Sri Krishna as he had already experienced them during the Kurukshetra war, in which both of them were present. Therefore, Arjuna's version of Lord Krishna is authoritative. Krishna is almighty and is especially the cause of fearlessness for the devotees. A devotee of the Lord is always fearless because of the protection given by the Lord. Material existence is something like a blazing fire in the forest, which can be extinguished by the mercy of the Lord, Sri Krishna. The spiritual master is the mercy representative of the Lord. Therefore, a person burning in the flames of material existence may receive the rains of mercy of the Lord through the transparent medium of the self-realized spiritual master. The spiritual master, by his words, can penetrate into the heart of the suffering person and inject knowledge transcendental, which alone can extinguish the fire of material existence. So I'll read the text again. O my Lord Sri Krishna, you are the almighty personality of Godhead. There is no limit to your different energies. Therefore, only you are competent to instill fearlessness in the hearts of your devotees. Everyone in the flames of material miseries can find the path of liberation, and you only. So this is a very wonderful prayer by Arjuna. It's a prayer that we can use if we want, if we feel in difficulty. Krishna, Krishna, Mahabaho, Bhaktanam Abhyankara, Trameko Dayamananam, Apavargo, Samskrita. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of so many prayers, many prayers. Some of them are one verses, some of them are many verses, like Queen Kunti, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj. This is our son Kirtan. Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Parambaja. It is said that in the age of Kali, the process of salvation, Kirtana Deva Krishnasya, is to glorify Krishna. Kirtan means to glorify. We have morning Kirtan and Guru Puja Kirtan, Tulsi Kirtan, evening Kirtan. And we have heard that the transcendental sound is so powerful that even if we don't understand it, it has very good effect. It is purifying. So this is so nice. Even if our mind is disturbed by bodily suffering, emotional suffering, whatever it may be, if we just focus our consciousness on transcendental sound of the kirtan, of the japa, of the Sanskrit, of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, there is purifying benefit. But it becomes more powerful when it is kirtan, sun kirtan, when it is in a mood of glorifying, of praising Krishna. Namo Brahmana Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya, Jagaditaya, Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namo. Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya Cha, Nanda Gopa, Kumaraya, Govindaya Namo. We know when someone says something to us, usually we can understand where they're coming from, their mood. If someone, whoever it may be, a friend or a relative, our spouse, says something nice about us, oh, you're so good at this. We can tell by the sound of their voice if they're just saying it mechanically, or how much they really mean it, how much they're feeling it. Often when we go to the store or when we meet with certain people, we say, how was your day? And they say, okay. And they say, how was your day? And we say, okay. And it's sometimes just a mechanical conversation. No one is really caring. So Lord Krishna is conquered by love. This is the path of Bhakti Yoga. We are not trying to conquer God by studying so many books. We are not trying to conquer God by being some kind of big yogi, being very austere. We're not trying to impress God by giving so much in charity. Krishna is not impressed by that. Krishna needs nothing from us. He doesn't need our money. He is fabulously wealthy, infinitely wealthy. He doesn't need our food. He is the source of all food. He's not impressed by renunciation. He's not impressed by austerity. These things will not capture the attention of Krishna nowhere near as much as genuine bhakti, some genuine feeling in our heart. And it doesn't mean necessarily there are different degrees of inner feeling. There is neutrality, where one may recognize the position of Krishna. Oh, you are great. So that's bhakti. And then, oh, you're so great, I should do what you want. That's service, bhakti. And then friendship, feelings of friendship. Oh, you are my friend. I want to be your friend. So these are different intensities of love. And Krishna responds specifically to love. There are many verses where he tells that I am conquered by the love of my devotee. The gopis completely control me because they so much love me. They have given up everything to have me. They will do anything for me. Their love is so great, the gopis, they will die without me. So there are different flavors of love. And all of us, usually, hopefully, our heart is touched by love. When our parents work hard and they sacrifice so we can have clothes and go to college, have medical care, hopefully our heart should be touched by their love. When our mother or father cooks our favorite thing and puts it to us to eat, that is her heartfelt love. When a husband comes home from work and the wife has prepared something that he really likes, she could make anything. She could make khichdi, some chapatis, some roti, something simple, some food. But when he comes home and sees that she took the extra trouble to cook something that he really likes, that is extra love, and it should touch his heart. So Krishna, he is the supreme person, and he is just like us, except he is the supreme person, and he doesn't have bad qualities, anything imperfect. And he is very touched by the simplest expression of love. So kirtan, when Krishna, because he is in our heart, when he sees that we are chanting our japa with a little extra attention, and we are trying to, because how does Srila Prabhupada instruct us? That the chanting of Hare Krishna is just like a child calling for its mother. Or in the mood of glorifying, Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu Jagatpate. Glorify, oh, you're so wonderful. Hey Krishna, Karuna, you're the ocean of mercy, Karuna Sindhu. Dina Bandhu, you're the friend of the poor. Jagatpate, you're the Lord of the universe. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu Jagatpate. When Krishna feels our respect and our affection, he becomes very touched, just like anyone else. Therefore, bhakti is so powerful. It is the most powerful way to link with God. Lord Krishna says, I become controlled by the love of my devotees. Who can control God? But Mother Yashoda so much loves Krishna and so much wants to take care of him that Krishna agrees to act like a child. That is inconceivable. It is hard to wrap our minds around that God would act like a child. But that is the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not on a power trip. When we humans sometimes get some power as a government administrator or a school administrator or a prime minister, sometimes it goes to our head and people become mad after power. But Krishna is not mad after power. He's already completely powerful. God is not about power. God is about love. Divine, spiritual, unconditional love. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that only to the extent that we rise to the level of Brahman can we understand Krishna. And that has an interesting aspect to it. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitaita brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So that verse in the 11th chapter describes that by devotional service, we rise Brahma Bhuyaya to the spiritual platform. Now, if we are just beginning yogis, we might think that that means just we become transcendental to the dualities of the material world. We become in touch with eternity. Brahman, aham brahmasmi, I am spirit. And that is true. But there is more to Brahman than just divine knowledge and experience of eternity. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchid Ananda Vigraha. God is much more than just the supreme spirit, the supreme white light. And these are all very beginning understandings of spirituality. But Krishna is Adi Purusha. He is the original person and he is full of emotions and full of feelings and full of love. Just like it was described here in the purport, that Lord Krishna, because of the love of Arjuna, he became the chariot driver. How is that? God is driving the chariot. It's like a lorry driver, a taxi driver. Lord Krishna became the taxi driver of Arjuna. Why? How? Why would God do that? Because of love. Arjuna so much cared for Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna reciprocated. So how do we intensify our inner bhakti? Well, that is the process that we are following. By hearing and chanting, by hearing about Krishna. As we go on hearing about Krishna, we will come to understand him. And as we follow the regulative principles in our heart, you see the chanting of Hare Krishna and the following of the four regulative principles, they prepare our heart to appreciate Krishna. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. As we understand that Krishna is love, and as we ourselves develop more inner love, then we can understand Krishna more and more and more. Our original nature is overflowing, unconditional love. We are beings of love. And we can see how that love comes out. Even a lion takes care of the cub, right? A giraffe very tenderly cares for the baby giraffe. We see as humans, there's love between servant and master. There is affection. So this is the full understanding of Brahma Bhuyaya, of Brahman. Brahman is not just light and knowledge. Brahman also, and primarily, is rasa. So Arjuna, understanding this danger coming, immediately calls out to Lord Krishna, 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 Mahabaho, and he glorifies Krishna, thinking of the different qualities of his friend and his Lord. You are the almighty personality of Godhead. There is no limit to your different energies. Only you are competent to instill fearlessness in the hearts of your devotees. Everyone in the flames of material miseries can find the path of liberation, and you only. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada discusses how especially as we become more pure, we become fearless, and we can depend upon Lord Krishna for his protection. Now, it is very important to understand what that protection is. Is that protection that we will always have the same job? No. Is that protection that none of our relatives will ever leave this world early? No. This material world is guaranteed by Lord Krishna to be temporary and miserable. And it doesn't matter who we are. But for his devotees, Krishna empowers the devotees through transcendental knowledge to rise above and not be as affected, to not experience the miseries of this world as much as non-devotees. And he protects our soul. He protects us so that at the time of death, we will remember him. And he protects our remembrance of him as well. So those are the main primary protection of our bhakti, protection of our spiritual health. And it is very, very true. We see by the example of the Pandavas, Krishna will definitely help us. Krishna will definitely help us. It doesn't mean everything will be perfect, but if we need a job, he will lead us to the income that we need. If there is some illness, he will lead us somehow or other. He will help us to understand how we can feel better. He will definitely help us. We're not all alone in this world. So Srila Prabhupada goes on to explain that the spiritual master is the mercy representative of the Lord, and that we, the fallen souls, receive the mercy of Krishna through the medium of the spiritual master. And it is very important, I think, to understand it is not by some magic. The spiritual master does not just zap us and now you are advanced, but he gives us knowledge, just like the doctor. The doctor, we go to the doctor doesn't just wave a magic stick or something. It is very, very, it is not like that. This is the diet you have to follow. These are the pills. This is the way you have to act, and then you will get better. So it is a partnership that Krishna will lead us through the spiritual master to the instructions which we will follow in order to become fully protected by Krishna and ultimately go back to the spiritual world. The Srila Prabhupada puts it, the spiritual master by his words can penetrate into the heart of the suffering person and inject knowledge transcendental. So Lord Chaitanya, we were talking about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given us that bhajan, Jeev Jago, Gora Sundar Bole. That Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come as the supreme transcendental doctor to give us the medicine, Harinama Sankirtan. This is the prime medicine. And if we take that medicine in the proper way, we will not feel the miseries of this world as much as we might, and we will gradually unfold and experience our original identity as devotees of Krishna. Harinama, was that Harinama, Harinameva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, Bhakti. That in this age of Kali, there is no other way to self-realization and moksha except the glorification of Krishna. So powerful. Now I'll share something before we stop for questions. So I'm a devotee who's on the path. I remember many, many years ago, I was having some health problems. And so I was feeling really bad. And I prayed to Krishna for, I wish I could know what to do. So a short while later, I was reading some book of yoga, and there were some yoga exercises that were exactly for my health condition. So I started practicing them, and I was very happy that Krishna had led me to that, and it helped. And then I stopped, and I started feeling bad again, and I started to become upset for a few minutes that, oh, Krishna, why aren't you helping me? And I said, you're such a nonsense. How dare you say something like that? Krishna gave you the information and you're not taking advantage of it. So don't be like me. We pray to Krishna and he will somehow or other lead us forward. And then we have to take advantage of it. So I'll stop here so we can have some discussions and questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much. And thank you for the last example that you gave. We can all relate, at least I can relate to that. I
Yeah,
know
well-
it. I know it. I know it. But
Sadly, nowadays, sometimes, usually young men say they have some problem with corrupt material on the internet and they're having problems with their sex desire. Well, stop looking at it, you silly person. What do you expect? I'm so agitated. So
Yeah.
that's it.
yeah, thank you very much, Prabhuji. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Sandhya Mataji.
I just want to say, Prabhuji, I really love you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Are there any comments or questions?
Wonderful class, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Nandad Pranam. Wonderful session. But I'm on the way driving to San Francisco Radha Yatra. So if you could post the video, that would be great, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
I will certainly do that, Mataji, and I will also post all the other videos will be there on our link, but I will post the Thursday video as well if you want it, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Please enjoy the Rath Yatra and think of us, our Sangha, everybody. Let us connect to the Rath Yatra in California together.
Here, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Prabhuji, there are no more questions or comments. I will request Prahlad Prabhu to end the session. Prahlad Prabhu, are you able to do that?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare
First, I would like to start off by thanking His Grace DIna Sharana Das Prabhu for giving us this wonderful class, as well as all the other devotees for joining in as well, despite their busy schedules. So thank you all for joining in as well and listening to His Grace DIna Sharana Das Prabhu. So on behalf of ISKCON Eldoret, we would like to thank you, Prabhu. So I would like to kindly request all the devotees assembled to please unmute yourselves and let's chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra once for His Grace DIna Sharana Das. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vancha
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai,
His Grace DIna Sharana Das Prabhu ki,
Jai,
Hey, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Bol.
Wow.
Glories to the devotees. Thank you for your
Thank you, Prabhu.
allowing me to be of
Thank you,
service.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
You thank.
Everyone be well. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We enjoy Janmashtami celebrations. We'll see you on Sunday. Hare Krishna.